This course is brought to you by AppyPie as part of our Academy series.
Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to talk about Airbnb. Now, we all know Airbnb, I hope, and we might have used Airbnb services all around the world. I am actually also a very frequent user of Airbnb. Wherever I travel, I normally tend to take Airbnb. Okay, so Airbnb is one of the startups started somewhere back in 2007. And the reason I am going to actually talk about Airbnb as a case study is because over a period of time, over the past 6 months or so, I am gathering a lot of information. I am collecting a lot of information about startups, and obviously studying a lot of growth hacking techniques, how these startups have implemented during their initial stage. Now, as I have collected a lot of resources, links, which I will be sharing that, of course, I have understood that it is very important for everyone to know how these companies have actually started off, so that we know if there is any growth hack or growth hacking technique they have implied during their initial days, and we would like to know, and then maybe we can actually use that, because we know all of these companies now have become unicorns and they've become really, really, really big. Okay, so what I've done is I have actually taken 8 case studies starting from Airbnb, and I have divided into 2 parts, which is one, how let's say Airbnb has started, which where we'll be talking about how from the scratch how they started and what goes behind the scenes, and what were the challenges and what was the funding they have received during all these past years. In the second section of the same case study, I will be then revealing the hack or the growth hacking techniques they have implemented, so that we know that it is all proven that these companies have already tried these growth hacking techniques, and maybe if it relates to our business, or maybe we are in the profession, or we are just learning growth hacking, we can use and implement those as well. Okay, so let's get started. How Airbnb started. Now, Airbnb is started by Brian Chesky and Joe. These are the 2 main founders, and later on, Nathan has actually joined them as a co-founder. Okay, way back in 2007 or earlier, the Brian and Joe in San Francisco were struggling to pay rent. And they have what they did is they rented out 3 air mattresses to people and serve breakfast. In 2007, they make a very simple website, a very small, like a blogging with maps. It's called airbedandbreakfast.com, and they made $80 out of that. And they had the very first customer is 2 men and 1 woman showed up and paid $80 each. That means $240 at that point in time. Now, when they had the very first guest, or let's say the customers, they thought that it's a really brilliant idea. Let's actually make this work. And then they invited Nathan to come on board as a co-founder, and they launched at SXSW, as in here, got 2 bookings. SXSW is South for Southwest, is media and music festival in Austin, Texas, United States. Whosoever is American would relate to that. But it's a music festival, and it's a media festival, quite a big one, where they have actually hosted their startup, and they got 2 bookings from there. Now, in 2008, because they had were struggling with budget and money, they sold Obama O cereal, and before the election got $40 each, making $30,000. Now these are the some examples. What we are going through is like, you will not know generally how Airbnb, because right now we see that it's a very, very big company, but if you go through the nitty-gritties of these struggles and hurdles what they have gone through, it is very understanding that they have come by far. They have come a very rocky road, and since 2007 until now, they have come through a lot of struggles. Okay, in 2009, they got funding, the first funding for $20,000 from Paul Graham's. It's Y Combinator. It's a huge Y Combinator accelerator program based out of US. Then they were making $200 a week for months. So that means they had a challenge here, right here, that they were not making money, but they were making little money, but they were not scaling up. So the scaling was the problem there. Then they realized that the photos what they put goes on the online, they are not that really pretty, because people or the customer would look at the photos of those houses, and if they are messy, people will not actually hire those places, and they will not rent it out. So what they did, again, it could be one traditional way of growth hacking, which is they went out door to door in New York City and took photos of those listed houses which has been rented, which actually boosted and made double the amount of money they were making way back into $200. They started making $400 a week and shared to grow. They approached a lot of VCs, venture capitalists, who would like, people who are the investors, who would put a lot of millions and millions of dollars behind your idea, and then make money out of that. They were rejected by a VC in New York Times, New York, by Fred Wilson. And then they have someone from a famous singer, I would say Barry, has rented out an entire house, and they raised 600,000 seed round from Sequoia Capital. Sequoia Capital is again a VC, venture capitalist, and seed round is the very first round of your funding stage. They raised seven in 2010. Between 2010 and 11, they raised 7.2 million. Then another 112 million from many investors and Ashton Kutcher. So Ashton is a Hollywood celebrity. And by 2014, they were actually 10 dollar billion valuation. So you see, from 2007 or earlier than that, 2007 till 2014, which is about 7-8 years. Now it is already in end of 2018, and the valuation have obviously has gone up, but they have already have 10 years and 11 years of going through all that hurdles in their startup. Now, in the next section, in the next video, I will be talking about what exactly the hack or the growth hacking technique they have implemented during this year, and what was one hack or the growth hacking technique they have implemented, which has actually skyrocketed their business. Okay, so stay tuned. Quite interesting. I will see you in the next one. We will be revealing the hack. Bye for now.